This is the Sigma 30mm f1.4 DC-DN contemporary lens for your Sony E-mount system. This is the original lens in the Sigma APS-C Trinity. This lens might be 4 years old, but it still may be one of the best prime lenses you can buy for your Sony crop sensor camera. And in this video, I'm gonna review this fantastic prime lens from Sigma. I'm gonna let you know if this lens is still worth picking up for your Sony crop sensor camera. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of the video, as I'm gonna give you a comparison between this lens and the amazingly popular Sigma 16mm f1.4. Welcome to the third video in my series I'm calling the best lenses for the Sony APS-C cameras. Welcome to my channel. I'm Brian the Camera Guy, and I make videos reviewing Sony cameras and their lenses. If that's something that you're into, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. For those that are back for another video and have already subscribed, welcome back. Thank you so much for all your support. We've doubled this channel in less than 30 days, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. I'm really glad that you're enjoying all the content that I'm putting out. Today I'm gonna be reviewing the Sigma 30mm f1.4 lens. This is the third lens in my series that I'm calling the best lenses for the Sony APS-C cameras. If you wanna see the first two videos in this series featuring the Sigma 16mm and the Sony 16 to 55mm lens, I'll link the playlist up in the cards above and down in the description below. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. But first and foremost, we need to throw this lens on the camera so you can see what the image quality looks like. Oh, there you go. There's the Sigma 16mm. More on this coming up in a minute. The Sigma 30mm f1.4 lens is a crop sensor lens for the Sony E-mount cameras, Micro Four Thirds cameras, and is now available for the Canon EFM system. As I mentioned, this lens is the original lens in the Sigma mirrorless trio, which consists of this lens, the 16mm, and the newest 56mm lens. All three of these lenses have an aperture of f1.4. This lens originally came out for the Sony E-mount system in February of 2016. Despite being 4 years old, this lens can still hold its own and is going to do a great job when paired with your Sony crop sensor camera. The f1.4 aperture is going to do great in low light and help you create some beautiful images and video. This lens typically costs between $265 and $300. I was able to pick up this lens from Adorama on sale for $220. This 30mm lens has a full frame equivalent of 45mm on the Sony system. It weighs in at only 265 grams or 9.35 ounces. This lens, when paired with your Sony a6400 or a6600, is going to be an incredibly light setup. It's also going to allow you to enjoy a full day of shooting without getting tired. It's also going to be light enough to work on almost any gimbal. Downside with this lens is it's going to be too close for vlogging.
So this is what it would be like if you were vlogging. As you can see, I got my arm fully extended. It'd be very difficult to go around and vlog like this. So this lens is definitely going to be way too close for vlogging.
The Sigma 30mm lens does have 9 round blades, just like its brother, the 16mm. Those 9 round blades, along with the 45mm full frame equivalent, really helps give this lens some really creamy bokeh. Some might say that the 30mm focal length on an APS-C camera is the perfect length for some really nice portraits. The reason for that is that this focal length gives you a very similar look to what your eye sees. Now, I'm not really a huge photographer, and I primarily use my cameras for video work. Now, this lens does not have any lens stabilization. This means that if you want to use this for video work, you could end up with some shaky footage. You could always invest in a gimbal, and that will help improve some of that stabilization. If you're not ready to join the gimbal world, then you'll have to remember the tips and tricks on how to stabilize using your body. Do me a favor, if you want me to make a video showing you the tips and tricks on how to stabilize handheld footage, comment down below with handheld stabilization. Now, this lens has a front element with a filter size of 52mm. If you're using a variable ND filter, make sure that you pick up the proper step-up rings so that you can use the proper shutter speed. Remember that your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting in 24 frames per second, you should have a shutter speed of 1/50. Also, the minimum focusing distance for the Sigma 30mm is gonna be just under 12 inches or 30 centimeters. This lens does a great job with autofocus. autofocus. Originally, this lens had some issues with the autofocus, but now that we're on firmware version 3, those bugs have seemed to be worked out. Now, since I've been using this lens, I've noticed that I can really hear the focusing motors. This means if you're using a shotgun mic, it might pick up those motors. That might not be a huge issue, as I see this lens being used primarily for interviews, but it could also be handy for these talking head videos. Do me a favor, if you're getting value out of this review, make sure you smash that like button, and feel free to share this video with anybody that might be considering picking up this lens. I'm really impressed with the colors coming from this lens. I think it does a great job of really representing true to life colors. As you can tell from this video, the skin tones look beautiful. When you pair this lens with the new crop sensor Sony camera, like the a6100 or the a6400 or even the a6600, the colors coming out of this lens look really fantastic. The Sigma Prime Lens Trinity are some of the sharpest lenses that you can buy for your Sony APS-C cameras. For less than $300, it's hard to find a lens that is going to give you a sharper image. The clarity of this lens really shows through, and I am so super impressed. Anything that this lens focuses on is going to be incredibly sharp, and it's going to give you some of that nice bokeh in the background. Now let's talk about some of the build quality of this lens. The build quality of the lens is really good. It does use plastic and a rubber focus pole, but the manual focus ring is really big, just like its brother, the Sigma 16mm. Now it is a focus by wire system. When you manually focus, you'll have a tough time pulling focus the same way twice. This is normally not a problem for me, as I normally don't shoot in manual focus. I really trust the autofocus of this lens. It's really good, so I don't see the need to really do manual focus very often. So all that being said, I did promise you the comparison between this lens and its brother, the Sigma 16mm f1.4. To be honest, I'm really a huge fan of this 16mm lens. I think this lens might be the best prime lens for the Sony crop sensor system. That being said, I really like this 30mm for talking head videos. I think it gives you some great video, just like the 16mm, but it doesn't distort your face as much. Sometimes when you get too wide, you get that real narrow looking face. It sometimes isn't as flattering, but this 30mm does give you the same image as what your eye sees. It makes your face look a lot more natural. If you're not ready to invest in the full Sigma Prime Trinity, I would probably pick up the 16mm first. The 30mm is going to be just as good, but I really like that wide look. I primarily record these talking head videos, and I really like to be able to adjust the camera without getting up. The 16mm gives me that option. That being said, the 30mm gives you a more natural look. So if you're looking for more of that natural look, I would definitely go with the Sigma 30mm. If you don't mind getting up and adjusting your settings, then it's not a problem. I have a remote that I use that makes my life a lot easier to start and stop my videos. I don't even have to leave my seat. Either of these lenses are going to be fantastic, and you could not go wrong with either one. You might want to consider getting this lens first if you don't have the cash for both the 16mm and the 56mm. I feel like the 16 and 56mm lenses are a great pair, but the 30mm can stand all by itself. If you're interested in learning more about any of the lenses that I've talked about in this video, I'll put links down in the description below. If you have any questions or comments about the Sigma 30mm lens, make sure you use that comment box down below. If you like this video, I'm sure you're gonna like the video on the screen now on another lens for the Sony system. Go ahead and click on that video now, and I'll see you on that next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell. Brian out.